All right, now that we've done volume of prisms and cylinders from the previous lesson, we're going to focus on the next group of family shapes of the three-dimensional world, and that is the volume of pyramids and cones. All right, these formulas are different than the other ones in the fact that they have a fraction in front of them. It is still find the area of the base multiplied by the height, just like the last ones were, but now you've got to deal with the fraction 1/3 sitting in front of those formulas, right? And the reason that the 1/3 is there is because every single one of these shapes that comes to a tippy top point, it takes 3 of them to make either the rectangular prism or the cylinder that it would be a part of. So it is 1/3 of that shape, and that's where that 1/3 comes from. All right, so the first thing I want to do is work out the examples with you from this front side. Your homework is to continue and do all of the problems on the back. All right, so hopefully once you see and hear the explanation behind these 8 shapes, then you'll know what to do and how to get the problems the way you want them to be. Okay, so from your formula sheet, or just from looking at this one, the volume of every pyramid, no matter what type of pyramid it is V equals 1/3 area of the base times the height. So once again, you have to go off to the side and calculate the area of the base. If you look at this pyramid, the base has sides of 3.6 each, which means it's a square. So when we go to find area of a square, we're going to do side squared, and that would be 3.6 squared when you type it in your calculator. Typing that in the calculator, you're going to get 12.96. That is the area of the base, which means this number comes over here and replaces that big B. So in your volume formula, you've got 1/3 times 12.96, and then the height is the height of the whole pyramid, and it usually starts at the top where the tippy point is and drops straight down the middle. So it's always going to be a dashed line. You'll never see it solid because it's going right down the middle, and it'll always be designated in your picture. You can see that the 9 right here is pointing to that dashed line, which is the height of the entire pyramid. So the height in our H formula is going to be the 9. Now, when you go through and do your calculations, again, you have 2 ways to deal with this fraction. When you cut something in half, you divide by 2. Well, if you cut something in thirds, you're dividing by 3. So one approach you can take to your calculator is 12.96 times 9, then divide that answer by 3. Another approach you can take if you're not a dividing by something person is to take and in the calculator go from left to right and type in exactly what you see. So you would type in 1 divided by 3, that gives you the 1/3, times 12.96 times 9. Regardless of which way you go, you're going to receive the same answer if you've typed all the buttons in right. And again, we are rounding to the tenths place. So for this pyramid, it would be 38.9 meters cubed. And this is known as a square pyramid. You always name a shape based on the bottom of its shape, right, the base of it. There are triangular pyramids and other types as well, and you'll see some of those pop up as we do some of these examples. All right, for number 2, you have a cone, right? It's not a circular pyramid. There's no such thing. It's called a cone, right? And on your formula sheet, you'll see that once again, there's the formula with 1/3 involved, but instead of saying area of the base times height, they took the area of the base out and wrote pi r squared, which is the area of the base times the height, right? So there's nothing different about any of these formulas other than the fact that some of them have the area of the base already put in and others of them just have a capital B there, right? But you have to know that it's doing the same thing. All right, so using all these pieces and from the picture, we're going to use 1/3. Pi is 3.14. The radius is 5, so that's 5 squared. And the height of this cone from the top down straight through the middle is 10. Right? Again, you have to start with exponents, so 5 squared turns into 25, and then you can do your math however you type it in the calculator. Right? So most of us do 3.14 times 25 times 10, and then take that and divide by 3. If you are the 1 divided by 3 person, then go for it. You'll still get the same answer regardless. Right? Once we get done calculating, you should end up with 261.7 feet cubed. And notice we're still in volume, so you're still going to have that little 3 in the air. The V gets a 3 every time. All right, so down here at the bottom, you've got a wide variety of cones and pyramids. Right? There are some rectangular pyramids and some triangular pyramids and some pentagonal pyramids, right? And then you've got the cones. Some are sitting on their bottom and some are laying down on their side. Regardless of how they're laying and what they're doing, you're still using the same formulas. All right, so let's go ahead and do all the cones first. So that would be numbers 1 and 5, right? Because their formula is pretty much the most basic. You have volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. So in this cone, it's pretty wide cone. You're going to have 1/3 times 3.14. the radius is 4, so that's 4 squared, and the height of this cone is 3. Again, you have to do exponents first. So 4 squared turns into the number 16. Right? So type out that in your calculator the way you type and calculate these types of problems. Don't forget to use the 1/3. And then you should come up with 50.2 yards cubed. If you are having trouble getting these answers and you're using the same numbers I am, come see me and I will make sure that the way you're typing them in the calculator is the right way, and that could be the issue that you're having. All right, so for number 5, it's still a cone. It's just laying down on its side, which is no big deal. It's the same formula regardless of how it's sitting. So we have 1/3 pi r squared h. 1/3 stays. Pi turns into 3.14. The radius in this picture is 3, so that's 3 squared. And the height would be, if it were standing up, how tall is it from the tippy top point down through the middle? And that's the 9.2 piece. Right, before you can do any sort of calculations, you need to do 3 squared and turn that into the number 9. So now do your multiplying and dividing piece, and you should come up with a volume of 86.7. MI stands for miles, so this is miles cubed. Okay, that's how much that cone can hold inside of it. All right, now everything that is left is a type of pyramid. Right, and you can tell that because it doesn't have a circle on the bottom. Cones have circles. Everything else has to be a pyramid if it comes to a point. Right, and you'll notice that 3 and 6 are the same type, but 2 and 4 are different. So let's go and do 2 and 4 first, and then we'll come back and do 3 and 6 last. All right, so for number 2, if you look at the bottom, right, you've got this shape that looks like some sort of quadrilateral, and you see an 8 and a 5, which means they are different numbers, and that means it's a rectangle. So when we're doing volume equals 1/3 area of the base times the height, we have to calculate the area of the base. Well, because it's a rectangle, we're going to use length times width to help us do that. The length is 8, the width is 5, which means the area of the base is 40. This 40 is going to go right here in that B spot. So now you're going to have 1/3 times 40, and the height of the whole pyramid from the top straight down the middle is 5. Okay, so now you want to do your multiplications and divisions, and hopefully you've come up with the volume of 66.7 centimeters cubed. Remember, we're rounding to the 10th place. The directions tell you that as well. All right, so now jump down to number 4, right? The bottom of this shape is a pentagon. Well, you don't have a pentagon on your formula sheet, which is fine. You don't need it to be there, because if you look over here to the side, they've told you what the area of that pentagon is. So they've given you the big B, right? You just need to put it in the formula in the right spot. So you don't have to calculate it if they give it to you, right? So always look for that, because that's an easy thing to do, is just to stick the number in its right spot. You don't have to calculate anything. And so you have 1/3. Area of the base is that 33. That's where that number's going. And then the height of the whole pyramid is 4. Okay, so again, do your multiplications and divisions, and you should come up with the volume of 44 millimeters cubed. Right, so it's nice when they give you the actual area of the base, because that means you can just slide it into the big B spot. Other times you have to calculate it yourself, and that's what makes it a little different. All right, so 3 and 6 are both triangular pyramids. They're just different size and different shaped looking ones, but they both have a triangle on the bottom, and they both come to a point at the top. That's how you know it's a pyramid. So for both of these, we are using the standard 1/3 big B times H. And in both of them, we have to come off to the side and find the area of the base first, right? And because the base is a triangle, we are going to use the area equals 1/2 little b little h formula. Okay, and we're only focusing on the triangle, so that's this bottom portion. Do not use any other numbers from the shape other than what the triangle has. All right, so we have 1/2. The base of this triangle is a 4, and then the height of it is a 9. If you switch the 4 and the 9, you will still get the same answer, so don't beat yourself up over that. Right? 1/2 of 4 times 9 is 18, so the area of the base is 18, which means this 18 is going to go right up here into our formula in that big B spot. Okay? So when we're looking at plugging our values in, we've got volume equals 1/3, then we're going to put 18 in. Now the height of the whole pyramid is from the top point straight down the middle, which would be your 7. Okay, that 7 doesn't get used anywhere else except for in that one spot in the volume formula. So now you do your multiplying and dividing, and you should come out with volume is 42 inches cubed. Okay, so now doing the same process but with different numbers and a different size pyramid, we're going to do another triangular pyramid. So again, we're still using 1/3 big B times H. All right, so let's come off to the side or down at the bottom, whichever you have space for. And we're going to find the area of the base for this triangle. The base is the one on the bottom. So if you highlight it or outline it in some way, shape, or form, you can see what numbers you're going to need and what numbers you're not going to need. So we're going to have to find 1/2 little b little h. And this is just from the triangle. So the base of the triangle is 4, and the height of the triangle is 14. So after taking 1/2 of 4 times 14, you should get 28 as the area of that triangle. That 28 now comes over and plugs into the B of your formula. So volume equals 1/3 times 28. The height of the whole pyramid is that 7.4. Okay, so now you want to do the multiplying and dividing part, however you type it in. And hopefully you have come up with the number that rounds off to say 69.1, and we're in kilometers cubed. All right, so all the problems on the back are yours to do for homework and practice, and we'll see what questions you still have and what shapes you're still having the most difficulty with, and whether you're getting the calculations right or wrong, or whether the calculator is what's tripping you up. All right, so try those and come to class with the answers ready to look at so we can figure out what problems you're still experiencing.